Hi, here we are for my second drill, and today we're doing the portable Aussie pump here at 43 Station. So thanks guys for being here, putting up with me. The reason why I decided to do the Aussie portable pump was it's something that we don't often look at, apart from the occasional sims. And I did ask the crew members, what they might benefit from being bushfire season, and firefighter Tap over here thought it might be worth his while just being out of the college not too long to just run over it and yeah, have a bit of a play with it really, so we'll all come out of it confident. So by the end of this, hopefully we'll be able to all confidently perform a pre-operational check of the Aussie pump, also know the safe working practices involved with it, and just how to go through a basic sims check there as well. So before we go ahead guys, just in terms of OH&S issues, obviously we're working with water here, so just be careful of slips, trips and falls of any of the equipment around here, so just take note of that. We are in the back of the station, so there's not much traffic, but if there is any cars or deliveries that come by, please just be wary of that. Obviously we're outside, so we don't need to worry too much about carbon monoxide. Let's not get too close to the exhaust. And yeah, there's a bit of a drop off the back here, so just be wary of that as well. Alright, pop quiz. Phil, can you point out a couple of things to us and just tell us what they are on the portable pump?
Oh, well, I reckon that would have to be our fuel tank.
Yep.
And I reckon that would have to be our starter cord.
Yep, that'll do for the moment. Okay, so in terms of your fuel, how much, what type of fuel do we use for this piece of equipment?
Pretty sure that's unleaded on this one, is it?
Correct, yeah. So can we use E10? Gus, can we use E10?
I would say not.
That's correct, yeah. We have to use premium unleaded. Alright, so that's for, it's the same pump, same motor obviously as the Honda motor on our PPV, right? But yeah, we must use, we can't use E10, it has to be premium unleaded. So yeah, as you said, Phil, the pull cord. Alright, Tappy.
Yep.
Come and point out a couple of features for us here.
Alright, so got the inlet on the bottom here, and 3 outlets on the top.
Yep.
Also come over here, we've got a choke and on switch as well.
Yep.
Over
Perfect. Here. Alright, excellent. Gus.
Yes.
It's hard for you with the camera. Can you point out the exhaust for us, or the muffler, and the air filter for us as well?
Air filter.
Yep.
And I can't see the exhaust. Where's the exhaust?
Just this one here.
Oh, the other one.
Hard if you're carrying the camera. Alright, so a few other things. Oil. Alright, so obviously this is a 4-stroke engine, so it's not 2-stroke in the sense that it's got a separate oil reservoir. So in terms of oil here, we've got oil filler point, okay, and we've also got our dipstick over this side as well. Alright, so first thing we do with a pre-operational check is we'll actually leave that is where it is. It's just loosen up this side for the oil reservoir, take that cap off. Obviously we want to try and locate it on a fairly level surface. This has a oil alert system on it, so if you try and operate this on any sort of unstable land as such, or it gets to a point where it's so low in the oil that it won't actually function, it'll just cut out completely. Alright, so if you do try and start it on somewhere like a hill over here, obviously, and it's not starting, that may be a reason why. Alright, so but to check the oil level, it's pretty simple. Alright, we just take that cap out on this side to release the pressure. Alright, check the dipstick on here. Alright, you can see that it's sort of coming out a little bit, so it's quite full. Alright, so from there we'll just do them back up, so that we know that the oil is where it needs to be in the machine. Alright, how much fuel should we actually fill up? What do you reckon? How high are we supposed to go? So it overflows? Any particular point?
3/4.
Yeah, so they say 3/4 or just to the bottom of the filler point. Alright, this is a water-cooled pump. Alright, so when we want to kick it over, obviously it's fine for the pump, the actual motor section to kick it over, but being water-cooled, alright, we do want to be running water through it. Alright, so that's one thing to be wary of when we are starting this over, is to make sure that we've got water running through it. Alright, The other thing is, just question-wise, do you know what applications can we use this in? So can we actually get water out of a hydrant into the Davy pump, or should we just use it in an open circuit or static water supply?
I imagine it's static water supply.
Yeah, perfect. So the reason being, you're not supposed to operate it under pressure because it can shatter, all right, the housing. All right, so that's one thing to be wary of, is that just if we are pumping, obviously using it from a static water supply. So when can we use it? Obviously we always talk about bushfire season and how important it is during the bushfire season, but what else can we use it for apart from bushfires, and when would we use it in bushfires?
Pump and roll on the back of our truck.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, pump and roll. Yeah. What else?
I have used one many years ago to extinguish a boat.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you can use them with salt water, and
Okay.
yes, we boarded a boat and
Anyways.
used it to extinguish a boat that was on fire that we couldn't have reached any other way.
Yep. Excellent. Yeah. Anything else, Cam?
Could use it for sucking out water if somewhere's flooded.
Yeah. Salvage.
Yeah.
Salvage operations is perfect. So yeah, firefighting, salvage operations, as we said, for bushfires. Yeah, that's perfect. Property protection was the other one. Okay, if we can't obviously gain water out of hydrants, that's one there as well. All right, so just quickly on the pump before we get going. So we've got our inlet section here and our outlets up the top. And the only other one that we just need to briefly touch on is our priming point. So when we store this, by our recommended practices, we're supposed to store it dry. And so obviously if we want to kick it over, as I said, we've got to prime it first. So we've got the cap on the top and the cap on the bottom there for when it comes to draining the pump at the end of the drill here as well. So just before we go on, just some safety things that we need to go through. Safe working practices, and then we'll just kick it over and we'll have a crack at starting her up. So PPE, anything in particular I think we should have?
Gloves.
Yep. Yeah, so really, in which case, yeah, gloves, great. Yeah, apart from that, there's sort of, if you want hearing protection and those sort of things, but apart from that, we're sort of all pretty good. We don't need too much else.
Don't need to wear turnout gear?
Don't need to wear turnout gear. Not that I believe so, anyway. You'll notice here, and in your Sims check, you need to make sure that it's got a visible sticker, all right, that says it is a team lift required with this piece of equipment. Do you know how much it weighs?
Low 20s?
Yeah, so it's actually 32 kilos dry. That's inclusive of the frame.
Wow.
So it is a fairly heavy piece of equipment, so naturally you know that we do encourage, or you have to use 2 people lift if you are going around. Alright, other things, switch off the engine before you refuel. All of this stuff is pretty straightforward that you're only going to know. The muffler does get super hot, alright, and naturally that's another reason why we do wear gloves, because if you go to grab it, okay, so make sure that that's one thing you do beware of. The pump's not intrinsically safe. Use premium unleaded fluid. Always try and start on level ground, as we said. The emergency stop, Cam, where's that?
Say this off switch.
Yeah. So if you need to shut it off straight away, alright, that's where you need to do it for whatever reason. And just the other major thing, amongst many that we haven't touched on, but just beware of the CO being emitted from the machine if you're using it in any sort of, unventilated areas. And if you are, you need to monitor it with a gas detector and use BA accordingly. Alright, let's go through a pre-up check quickly. Alright, I'll just find it here. So the first thing, as we said, we'll check our fuel level. Alright, pretty straightforward. The next thing that we'll need to do is just check our oil, which we've already done. Alright. Air cleaner, alright, so you can take that off, which we did before briefly, alright, and just check the elements and make sure that they're clean. Just before we do go ahead, if there is problems with this machine that you're not comfortable or confident with having a go at fixing, or it's outside of our qualifications, what do we do with it?
Let the station officer know and get him to contact the whichever section looks after it.
Yeah,
I don't know,
perfect.
not sure exactly
I
who
think
it
it's
is.
over at the rescue section at Greenacre.
Yep.
Yeah,
Okay.
so perfect. So we just pass it on to them if it's outside of our... Yeah. He's saying 5 minutes? Oh, great.
Left.
All right, 5 minutes left. Okay. Next thing. Alright, in terms of priming. Alright, so first of all we remove the priming plug. Phil, do you mind just grabbing us that bucket? Some I prepared earlier. So when we are priming we use clean water. Alright, so Phil, if you don't mind just filling that up for us, that'd be great.
We'll do my best. I'll try and get some in there.
Whilst he's doing that, I'll remove the priming cap on the suction inlet. There's a one-way valve there, so that doesn't get affected. So we're going to fill it right up to the top.
Hopefully we'll get some of it in. There we go.
Perfect, thank you, sir.
Pleasure.
If water does leak out of this this valve, there may be something stuck in it. Alright, so all we need to do is just get something to poke it. Alright, there may be some obstruction in there, so just to clean that out. Alright, so from there we'll just replace the priming plug in the top here. And Cam, do you mind just fitting that suction hose? Alright, so both ends of this have got Slatts couplings on it, so why is that the case? As opposed to just having a strainer on one end, why would we want to have a Slatts coupling at each end? Is there frogs?
I guess so. You can use it either end.
Well, you could join.
Use both ends.
You could join up too.
Yep.
If you need a longer length.
Yep.
Yes,
or
that's right.
water tanks, static water supplies if you're out on a property. Okay.
Very good.
Alright. So obviously a normal suction hose, normally 3 metres in length. And the only other thing was it's a 75 metre lift off this, so from wherever your water is, obviously you're not going to get any higher than 75 metres. The higher you go, the less effective it's going to be. Alright, so how to kick it over? From here. Alright, we just switch it on. Okay, come around the back, guys, so we can see. Alright, fuel turned on, choke, cold start, and then we just put it on 1/3 of the throttle to start. Alright, from there, just grab your pull cord until you've got tension. Alright, and then we'll just pull it from there.
Beautiful.
One thing I may have potentially forgotten was just to put our hose on, in which case we've got a branch over here. Thanks, Cam. Can't be perfect, guys. Can't be perfect.
Not on the second one.
That's why this is number 2. I've got better myself.
You'll be perfect for the next one.
Alright, so you can turn the choke off now. Alright, and from here obviously we'll kick her over. Turn her on. Alright, how's that?
Excellent, good demo.
Alright, so we've only got 1 minute left on the video, unfortunately, so I want to give you guys all a go at that so that everyone gets a bit of hands-on experience. Just before we do, in terms of, see how it took a little bit longer to prime? So how long should it take, or can it take?
Didn't take long.
So normally it will do it within about 15 seconds. Alright, it's dependent on your height of lift that you've got to go, but it can take, they're saying, anywhere up to 3 minutes as well. So if it doesn't start priming through straight away, obviously that could be the case. Alright, Cam, do you mind coming over and giving it a shot?
Sure thing. Fuel's on, choke's off.
Switched on. Alright, now throttle up.
Alright, 10 seconds.
Alright. So guys, we're just about to run out of film. Here we are with number 2 drill on the Davy pump. Thanks for being